Welcome into another live edition here of Tap In Eagle on the Cousins Conversations YouTube channel. And Fernando holding up the Open Championship flag from 10 years ago when him and I went there at Royal Troon.
That's upside down even. Fernando, it's upside down.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good. We understand. That was when Henrik Stenson and Phil Mickelson were in a playoff, and Stenson
went on to win. Most of the signatures are upside down anyway.
Yes. Yep. I remember we had like Jason Day on there, Dustin Johnson, a lot of different guys on there. That was a fun time. And now we're here doing the podcast like we have been this whole golf season. We're excited to have a guest this week, Peter Melton, who is an author, and he wrote Conversations of Par. But before we really get into this, though, got to do the YouTube plug thing. If you're here for the first time, subscribe for weekly conversations here and weekly episodes with Fernando and I talking about all the golf news in the world, some great content as well here, some great golf content we had from the Western Am earlier this year and the Corn Ferry Tour, the Edmund Scholars Invitational. So if you're new here this week, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you like what you hear too, do that as well. But let's start what we always do every week, Fernando. I've been seeing on your socials that you have been playing a lot this week. So let me know where you played this week, brother.
Yeah, sure. I played in a pit dye course on Sunday called Sand Hill, and it's so penalizing. Like if you miss the fairway, you're in the woods, and there's also like these like ditches that go around the course like in serpent-like mode. Like so, it's never like at the same distance. If you want to carry it, like if you pull it, it's a different carry distance than if you push it. So it gets really tricky, and it has like these bowl greens that if you miss anywhere, just go back to the pond or to the bunker. It's amazing, man.
That's awesome. How did you play?
I mean, I play well, but I was practicing, so I played like a little scramble with myself. I played 2 balls and played the best one. So I made like 4 birdies, which was fun around that course.
Awesome. Yeah, if you Fernando's a good follow. If you want to see him hit some shots out there, he's got a nice swing going and a nice smooth swing. I actually played too, Fernando. I know you love the history of Chick Evans. I played the Chick Evans course in Chicago suburbs this weekend. Yeah, on Sunday, a lot of sneaky like short par 4s, like 312, 320 off the tee. So I was just trying to rip some drives and get as close to the greens as possible on those holes, but I was not putting good. A lot of 3-putts out there, so that's what I have to work on. I have to work on my
putting.
What's
the course name?
Chick Evans Golf Course.
Oh wow, man!
Yeah,
I'm so inspired by him.
Yeah, so in Chicago they have these forest preserve courses where they took down a lot of trees and things like that, and they built golf courses, and they're owned by Chicago Park District, and so I played one of those this weekend, so that was fun. But Chick Evans, yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing with 7 clubs for a while now, and I have played like several rounds under par. Like it makes no sense. But I think it's easier because either you hit it like with all you got or you just try to chip it. I think if you just have 2 options with each club, I think it's easier.
Yeah, still shot 94, so I'm happy about that. Under 100 is always my goal when I go out there and play, so I'm happy about that. Peter, when's the last time you played, man?
Yeah, I've got part of a weekly Twilight league for the last 5 weeks and was able to win 4 out of my 5 tournaments at this course called Spring Hills, where I live in a town called Watsonville, California. And the course is owned by a gal I went to high school with and her husband. So it's extra fun and lots of local friends who play. So I'm cruising around that same 90 to 95 kind of zone, just making a lot of good bogeys and enjoying as much of it as I can along the way, and knowing that those errant shots are going to show up and just being with them. But most of the time, Fernando, I love playing. For many, many years, I never really kept a official score. I just love hitting 2-3 balls. What am I capable of? I don't practice enough or play enough to really get to there very often, but what am I capable of if I could hit a second or third shot?
Exactly. That's brilliant. The other day I played with my friend Geronimo. He's also a great player. I shot 9 birdies, like in 9 holes. Like it was 9 straight birdies, but I had 2 balls and it was magical.
Dang.
That is beautiful. Finding the way to enjoy it like that, to make 9 birdies, that to know that you could do that. That's awesome.
Dang. You should tell the PGA Tour that. Maybe you'll get your card.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to play the PGA Tour qualifier for the Cabo tournament in October.
Nice.
I love that, dude. If you make that, I'm coming down there. That's when I'm coming.
It's in the actual tournament. It's in November, first week.
All right, I'm gonna come if you make it.
It's in the fall series. I don't know where's he gonna fall with the new restructuring of the PGA Tour.
Is that the one that Brian Campbell won?
No, that's the Vidanta, the one in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, well,
it's the one that Camilo Villegas. No, Camilo, no. The Eric Van Rooyen won.
Okay, nice. The South African.
Eckroat.
Nice.
Too.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Just qualify and get down there and do good.
There you go.
Exactly, man. Just be yourself.
And hopefully they'll let you play 2 balls.
Yeah, and don't forget your golf balls either. Like we saw this week at the US Am with Ryder Cowan, where he only had he missed some balls in his bag, and then he ended up winning his match with only 2 balls. That's crazy.
Yeah, they asked him, like, why didn't you just buy it at the pro shop? And he's like, I don't like logo in my balls.
Okay.
Everyone's so particular, but anyway, you see Peter Melton here on the top right corner of your screen with Conversations with Par, and he wrote a book. So Peter, I will just give you the floor here. You can tell us a little bit about your book and what went into it and what we can read if we're going to grab it off some shelves or Amazon or wherever it's available.
Very good. Well, thank you. Great to get to be on the show and to talk to your listeners and you guys and share the good word of how can I enjoy my golf more, which is really the underlying of this. Is my book, Conversations with Par, is basically a conversation that I have with the game of golf. And what does the game have to tell me, and what am I missing, and how can I enjoy it more? It's supposed to be a game to be enjoyed. And yet for way too many years, I got so caught up in my score and wanting to get better, or just bothered by the fact that I wasn't as good as I was as a younger player. So it finally got to the level of peak frustration. And I'm like, I've got to do something. I've got to figure out a different way to look at the game. And this, the daring to write this book really brought that forth in me. And so quick back history. I played a lot as a young person, played in the high school team, played 2 years in a junior college team, got down to an 8 handicap, played pretty well, but then other interests and wasn't playing on an organized team. So I wasn't practicing all the time or getting any coaching. And I just kept thinking I should be able to still go out there and shoot 85 at least. Right. I mean, it's in here. I know how to do it. Practice a little, hit a bucket of balls the day before and I should be able to be there. Right. But it was all over the place. And it just got really frustrating for way too many years. So I would continuously, I didn't keep score for almost 30 years. I think that I didn't keep a real score for myself. I'd be happily taking mulligans, giving myself that extra putt and just trying to enjoy the game that way, but still knowing in the back of my mind, it's like, yeah, but this isn't really scoring, but it's finding joy. And that's the underlying thing is finding joy.
How have you found joy in your golf game after writing that book too?
Yeah. So the subtitle of Conversations with Par is How a Frustrated Golfer Found Joy Through Golf. And what happened for me as I dared to look at the game differently and dared to start really pondering, I knew that I could find it. I knew that I could find that joy in many different ways. And why wasn't I, though? Kept ringing through in me. And it's like, okay, so what's the deal here, right? And this is the game of my life. I grew up near a golf course. And so it had a lot more than just I play golf, because we'd go out there at night or jump in the lake or any number of ride our bikes around, go searching for balls and sell balls for $0.25 back in the day on the fourth hole. Right. And so it had a big tie into my childhood and into my identity thing, I think, as a young person, because I was good at golf and that gave me kudos. And, that was fun. And when that kind of went away and then I wasn't one of the better players anymore, it's like, well, wait a minute. So I dared to start talking with golf, or as it turns out, talking to the character that I call Par. And it starts at the beginning of the book where I 3-putt the 18th hole and to lose a match. And I'm like, what the hell is Par anyway? Right. Just needed a par to win. And I 3-putt for bogey and lose. And so I say, what the hell's Par anyway? And then I hear this voice in my head that says, well, hi, here I am. And it's like, what? It's like, who's there? What's going on in my head? Right. And it says, well, it's me, Par. Says, what's a Par? Par who? Right. And he says, just Par. You mean like the Par from golf? It's like, yeah, the Par from golf. Is there any other Par? It's like, well, no. It seemed like you're confused, so I thought I'd check in, right? He goes, what are you doing in my head? Why am I hearing voices? This is crazy. And Par goes on to say, well, I could tell you're struggling and I wanted to help. Maybe I could help you a little bit. And he goes, right now I think I'm just going crazy. I'm hearing this voice in my head as somebody who's calling themselves Par. And I said, well, maybe you're going crazy, or maybe you're already crazy and you're trying to get somewhere else. I'll never forget when that line kind of came through to me. It's like, that's it. I'm already completely messing up the chance to be with this game in a playful, fun way, instead of being so attached to results. And the story goes on as Par continues to question Peter and say, the big underlying storyline is, why are you playing? And what do you mean, why am I playing? Why are you playing? I'm playing to hope to do well so that 5 hours from now I can say that I was happy. Well, yeah, but then your 5 hours are gone and you weren't happy for those 5 hours. You're striving for some result that then you think you could retroactively be happy about. And how's that working out for you? Right. And he says, well, it's not, because, every once in a while I play around where I score well enough to be happy. But for the most part, you don't score well enough to be happy, because you left those 4 strokes and you didn't drive well today, but you managed to score anyway. All the confusion that comes around in a golfer's mind around, can I be at peace? Can I be happy? Can I enjoy this thing that's supposed to be an enjoyable game? Yeah. So I finally, it started coming through to me in this book that, well, in chapter 4, a little spoiler alert, Par says, 4? And he says, what? There's no balls around. He says, no, it's not about being hit by a ball. You're in danger. You're in danger of missing the whole point, right? There's 99 beautiful things about golf that have nothing to do with your score. And you are completely missing those because you've got the blinders of score on, and you're missing the point. It's what he called an inner 4. Watch out. You're in danger of wrecking this for yourself.
That's what it's all about, Fernando, right? We've talked about this the whole time since Alexander Roach has been on, about the mental side of the game.
Yeah. Alex Roach is a genius. He talks about only think of maximum at one swing thought. That's it. Obviously, focus more on the target than on your swing. But obviously, like you said, like the one who wins is always the one who has the most fun. All the times that I have won, it's because I had so much fun. All the times that my team has won is because everybody's in a good vibe and everybody's talking like positively about the team and about the day and about everything. And so I think if you enjoy the moment, then the results will come. But nobody cares about the results, like you said. Like it doesn't matter if you have 20 trophies if you were miserable. The guy who was happy and he lost every single time, I think that's the guy who actually wins in the long run, like you said.
Yeah. The mental game, they talk about how important the mental game is. And there's 2 sides of it, as I see, that there's the mental game that I'm using my mental game to try to improve my scoring. And there's the mental game that I'm trying to improve my enjoyment. And so I'm labeling myself as a golf enjoyment coach, because I don't have the skills or the coaching wisdom to teach somebody how to play really well, right? It's fun to teach beginners because you can help them get going, but I don't have the skills to teach you how to be better technically with your swing. But what I am developing is a program where I can help you enjoy your game more, basically by just letting you lead yourself with questions about basically different aspects of why are you playing. and daring to slow down enough to really answer that. Like, Nick, why do you play golf?
It's fun, and it's a good break from reality.
Yeah. How about you, Fernando?
Yeah, I think I don't try to like minimize it to golf. I just try to like do whatever I want to do the most at that particular time and try to do it the best I can with no insistence on the outcome. So right now that is golf, but tomorrow it could be something else. As long as I'm
Right.
doing whatever I want, passionate about, then it's fine. Like the guy who won on the Conferry Tour this week, Streelman, he was saying when he was a kid, he doesn't matter if he shot 62 or 82, he would be happy. But then after he started like competing in high school or college or professionally, like he started losing that, and he had a caddy down in Mexico that told him that he should be his own best friend. And I think I love that. Like I think I'm trying to do that more, and not just in golf, but in general.
Yeah. And that it really comes through in the book is that golf is this little microcosm of life. We're always doing the best we can. Every time you swing that club, you're doing the best you can. And the results go all over the place. And then you get to be with yourself amidst the fact that the ball went where it went. And who are you? And who do you become as you walk down the fairway or as you have to write down a 7 on your scorecard and go to the next hole? And that's really the overall gambit of it all, right? Is who do I become in the process of dealing with the results that show up?
Peter, where can people find the book at?
Yeah, so on my website, the first 4 chapters are there on my website, so people can get a tease of it at petermeltongolf.com. And then the actual book is available on Amazon and in paperback form and also Kindle. And I'm working on the audiobook that should be out by next month or so, which will be fun to record myself having that conversation with myself, because so many more people would rather listen to a book than read a book these days. This seems to be the truth of the matter, but it's been fun promoting it.
I'll listen to your voice. I like
There
your
you go.
voice, so I'll get the audiobook action going.
Awesome.
Maybe we can have a book club, Fernando. We'll talk about it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
let's do it.
It's like I was just saying, it's so much like life, like you were already hinting to, Fernando. It's like, yeah, it's golf, but it's also my relationship or my work or how I deal with my own personal health or goals or whatnot. It's like, how do we be with ourselves? And golf is that perfect escape, like you mentioned, Nick, that I get to get away from the world in a certain little bubble for 5 hours or a little bit more maybe, and just be in this different kind of experience of myself.
That's why it's one of the best jobs, I think, for these pro golfers. You know, you're living your life out on a golf course and traveling every week, and that's always fun. And we finally saw, we get into some of the golf from this week, Scottie Scheffler finally winning. We were talking about this the whole year, like all the runner-up finishes, all the top 5 finishes. He hadn't won since back in January when he won in his first start at the Amex. And it was interesting too, Fernando and Peter, because he had a 54-hole lead for the first time since the Open Championship when he won that. So he converted on the 54-hole lead, and he shot his worst round at the course, his first round, and then a 61 in his second round to tie the course record, then goes on to win by 8 shots. So typical Scottie Scheffler win here.
Yeah, crazy. And you talk about the mental game. And in one of the other podcasts I did, we were talking about him because so many golfers need to be rigid, need to be strict, need to be hard on themselves, need to grind. But Scottie has a different vibe about him, doesn't he? Where he's like, no, now, of course, he's fortunate enough to be the number 1 golfer and fastest to 21 wins and all that. But he's like, hey, there's other things in my life. I have my family. I have my faith. This is golf. This is what I do. And okay, I got 3rd place, right? It's like, it's a refreshing energy comes from him.
Yeah, that press conference, where he said that, where he's like, yeah, I focus on my family and my faith more than golf. I think that just shows like how real of a person he is, and it's more than golf, like you're saying.
Yeah, he's such a fiery guy and so funny as well, like making fun of Tom Watson's, his caddy's, what's his name? Ted Scott's mustache, and calling it stupid. But I think the playoff mojo came back with the stash, and I think he's not shaving it anytime soon. I think, the fact that has more advantage with Rory McIlroy in the official World Golf ranking compared to Rory, compared to the other pros. Like, I think there's more difference between Scottie and Rory than between Rory and the number 6,000 player in the world.
Oh, wow.
And I saw too, he passed Rory up on the career money list as well, and he's like super close to Tiger as far as earnings too. I think he's only like $1 million or $2 million away from where Tiger's earnings were.
He doesn't even care about money. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't even care about the ranking. He just wants to win because that's what he likes to do, to play golf at the highest level. And the bigger the tournament, obviously, the bigger the pressure. And that's what he wants. He finished on the top 5 in 3 of the 4 majors for the second consecutive year too.
Yeah, we were just waiting for Scottie to win one of those this year, and he didn't. But now I'm thinking this. So I was thinking about this, like, okay, so he won the Tour Championship 2 years ago, and he's already won the first playoff event here. Does he win all 3 now, Fernando? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like, nobody would even care because he's so dominant. I mean, I think only you can compare him to Tiger because he has surpassed Rory in terms of dominance.
Yeah, true.
And how wild that the guy who's doing it has such a unique swing, in particular his feet, obviously, and to see that continue to be so consistent.
Well, I think he has dialed down, but I think I'm a swing instructor too, and I always see how people, like, the lower body tends to go towards the front, more like a baseball swing, like the pelvis goes to the front. Like, if you're here, I don't know if you can see it. Maybe it's not going to work. But no, it's not gonna work. Sorry. But the fact is that the pelvis goes towards the front on the downswing. But if you look at Scottie, it's more like a hockey swing. Like the pelvis is going towards the back of like in the downswing. So if you look at Scottie's swing, it looks like a hockey swing. And that's why I try to teach. Like, if you try to do the hockey swing in the downswing, your chest is going to go down and your pelvis is going to go towards the back. And if you try to do the hockey feet, like the right foot going behind the left foot, you're going to have so much more consistency than if you do it the other way around, with the chest going up in the downswing and the pelvis going towards the ball, and then the right foot will try to slide in front of the left, and that's awful for golf. You're just dead.
The weekly Fernando swing lesson that we get, which we always appreciate. He tried there, but it fell a little short. But that's all right. We still love we still love the fact that you tried there, Fernando. But let's flip the script to somebody who had a really bad weekend in Rory McIlroy, shooting +7, and he now drops out of the FedEx Cup playoff standings, top 10 from 6th to 13th. And the fact that Brian Rowlap, the PGA Tour commissioner, had to go to him and say, hey, can you show up for this event? Because I know he wasn't going to show up until the Tour Championship because he was already in the top 30. So the fact that he had to show up and then didn't really seem like he wanted to be there. He said he's never played well at that course. So it was kind of the reason why he wanted to skip it originally. But now he went there, struggled, and dropped out of the top 10 of the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, golf is a wild game, huh? And there's so much behind it all now with the new configuration and like you're saying, the star power, and how can they manipulate the star power, and how do we deal with this whole new configuration? And yeah, it's getting exciting. Lots more drama to talk about on golf podcasts.
No, I like it too, because I think Roy was like, he missed the minimum this year to keep his card, but then they let him get away with it type deal. And so I think now, like 2 years from now, when we get the Challenge Series and the Championship Series, it's almost going to force these bigger guys to have to play a lot more. That's what I like.
Yeah, I think Rory is not as dominant as Scottie, but his best is still good enough to compete with Scottie's best. So I think he will have won this event before, the BMW, so I wouldn't see him struggle again this week.
And also, it's tough to like pick him each week as well because he hadn't played since the Open Championship, like an actual like real round of golf. So it's kind of like hard, like when he's not playing that much, to know if he's really going to play well week in or week out. But we'll see him for these next two playoff events, so maybe we see him win one of these. But
I saw that he was partying in Ibiza with Rufus Du Sol.
yeah, that's not a bad life. That I love to party with Rufus Du Sol. That'd be awesome. But,
Yeah, that looks great. I was hearing a story about how JT won the Firestone Championship, the Bridgestone Invitational, after going to Jordan Spieth's bachelor party in Ibiza. I think that was his most impressive win.
Man, if you want to find some of these golfers, go to Ibiza. Then you'll see them there for sure. But some guys whose seasons are over and they probably are heading to Ibiza right now: Max Homa, Jordan Spieth, Brian Harman, Keith Mitchell, Shane Lowry. Those are some of the notables to miss the top 50, and their seasons came to an end. But the most surprising was Jordan Spieth, because he was leading after the first round of this tournament this week, and he just barely got into the top 70 as well, because he had 0 top 10s the whole year. So just doing Jordan Spieth things out here, but it didn't work out for him in the end.
Yeah, what a story there too. It's like, how can you be so good and then be in such a slump and has such a following? And I mean, I don't remember what year that was that he broke out, where he was just all the rage and he was the next Tiger, and then he's had a decade of craziness.
I mean, his worst year is still like he top 50, so I think he's still playing great golf. Obviously, we expect so much from him but he said that the next 2 years are going to be amazing for him, so I believe him.
That's going to be another interesting factor too, because if he doesn't get a lot of top 10s, or finish the way he's been finishing, when we get the championship series, maybe he's on the Challenger series. Like if he doesn't figure out what's going on, everyone's saying, hey, switch your coach, switch your caddy, you've been with him for a long time, you're not winning, you're not all these things. So that'll be another interesting storyline that we might see in a year or two here with him.
Yeah, that line, right, between who's in the champions and who's in the challengers, and just how that feels overall to these players, a whole new threshold for that middle range player. And it's going to be exciting because you'll be watching that line, right? Because what doesn't it will change? How often does it change? If you're can't you go up like week to week or something? Would you jump to the other tour?
Yeah, I think it's like if you win 1, you go up, or you win 2, you go up. I wasn't officially sure, but I know the top 90. So this is why next year matters, because the top 90 will be in the championship series, whoever finishes top 90 next year. So that'll be important for next year. But let's talk about the future of the golf a little bit too. I know for now you wanted to get into this, and Jack Whaley, the U.S. Amateur Champion, the third Englishman to win it, the first since Matt Fitzpatrick out there at Marion. And he faced my guy who I covered at the Western Am Champion, Jay Lang, who, he's no slouch out here. He's a top 20 amateur in the world, and incredible run for him. But Jack Whaley gets it done. And this was, his first year at Florida State. He's coming off that. He was playing at the NAIA level last year. So just impressive to see like the trajectory of his career going from, NAIA to Division I at Florida State to now being the U.S. Amateur Champion.
Yeah, I seen Florida State where Woods was going to go, Charlie Woods.
Yeah, Charlie Woods and Miles Russell.
Wow, that has to be the most stacked team in the history of college golf, because Jack Whaley played unbelievable with his dad on the back. I love the fact that he said that he felt so bad that he lost so many times with his father, like banking him, like with all the money that his parents have spent on him, and he will just keep losing. And the fact that he won the most important tournament in the world with his dad in the back is just amazing. Like his dad told him like he's gonna retire after this, like 1 for 1. He's so one over and done. And obviously Jay Lang played incredible too the whole week. He beat Miles Russell. He played so well. Some of the best shots I've ever seen. Like, did you see that chip shot from Jay Lang?
Like, he's so good around the greens. I saw. Yeah, I saw him beat Miles Russell at the Western Am too, and he's undefeated against Miles Russell in match play, 3-0. So he's beating the phenoms out here. I think we'll see him win a couple of times on the PGA Tour, but he's at Stanford right now. So you just talk about all the great Stanford golfers that have gone on to do
Another
PGA.
one, yeah.
Yeah, here's another one coming, and this is why we love match play too, Fernando. We've been talking about it. We're like glad that the FedEx Cup Playoffs is now turning into match play too, come 2028, because like these tournaments are just crazy. Like you have the stroke play for 2 days, then you have 36 holes, 1 day of stroke play, and then you have a top 16 with match play. It's just like it's a grueling gauntlet out here for these guys.
Oh no, I forgot. I thought that the match play change on the Tour Championship was going to be already this year, but we have to wait 2 years for that.
I think so. Or it might be next year.
Oh no, man! I
Yeah,
was so excited for this year. Now
Yeah.
I
Well,
lost it.
Yeah, well, FedEx pulled their sponsorship, so that'll get interesting too with the PGA Tour out here. So lots of changes coming, but somebody we will see on the PGA Tour next year, along with our guy Doc Redman, is Ross Steelman after getting his second win on the Korn Ferry Tour this week out in Boise, Idaho, at the Albertsons Championship. And so these are only two right now for now that we know of that have secured the PGA Tour card for next year, but what are your thoughts on Steelman? Because I saw him a little bit when I covered the Korn Ferry Tour event, and he was only one to eagle one of the holes at the Glen Club the whole week. So he has an impressive game.
Yeah, and he surpasses Doc Redman for the #1 spot. Already tour bound. So happy for him. This is the guy I told you previously that says that you have to be your own best friend. He looks like such a friendly guy, and happy for him. And now we're looking at the guys in the bubble. Like those top 20. Alvaro Ortiz is sitting at 20th right now.
Wow. Yeah, Carlos Ortiz's brother. He's sitting there, but our guy Blaze, number 11 right now in the standings. Tommy Morrison, who's already won. He won the event that I covered, at Evans Scholars Invitational. He's 6th. So they're looking
15.
Yeah. So they're looking pretty good to make it. But 5 events left on the Korn Ferry, so we're excited to see how things close out on the Korn Ferry. And then we love the DP World Tour talk as well. Jeff Winther winning on his home soil in Denmark. And there were so many great Danish golfers there. Fernando Thornbjorn Olesen, Rasmus Højgaard, and Rasmus gave him a run. Rasmus made an eagle on. This was like a fun watch. I was watching this in the morning on Sunday. He eagled 17 to tie the lead. And then Winther came back and eagled the same hole to clinch the win. And it was only his second win on the DP World Tour. And before he was a golfer, and I think Peter will appreciate this too, he was a greenskeeper before he was on the DP World Tour.
That's great. You got to love the stories like the guy with his dad on the bag, or these different backstories of people and how they got there. I love the history of how people get to where they're going.
Yeah, the Jeff Winther story is unreal. Like in front of his home fans. Those fans are amazing. They would clap at every single shot. Didn't matter if they made an eagle or a double bogey, they would just clap. Jeff, I mean, he said that eagle gave him a real chance. And like you said, he never thought to be himself as a golfer. He thought he was a greenkeeper. And to win on the same course that he used to work at, such an important event, I think it's mind-blowing. But we have to talk about the runner-up, Jianian Xu, the Chinese guy. He's unreal. He's 18-year-old phenom. The next superstar reminds me like of Ryo Ishikawa. He looks like a Spaniard playing with a nation swing.
Yeah, it could be the next Hao Tung Lee out here, maybe on the PGA Tour on the next couple of years, but only 18. So, yeah, watch out for his name. But golfers we won't see on the DP World Tour next year is LIV golfers, because the DP World Tour said, hey, the agreement we came to this year no longer works next year, because the talks that we're hearing about this new LIV 2.0 is that the golfers will have equity in the league, which now means that like the DP World Tour and other tours, they don't like that fact that the golfers have equity. They're not just going out there and just winning prize money for a tour event. So that no longer knocks it out the window. But the fact that it's equity for golfers next year on the LIV Tour, that's why the DP World Tour says, hey, no, we're not allowing that. Even though some golfers like Bryson, we saw he's going to play the DP World Tour in December in South Africa because Gary Player made an exception for him. So maybe Bryson, maybe there'll be some exceptions for him or Jon Rahm or whoever. But as far as we know right now, the DP World Tour will not allow LIV golfers next year.
Man, that's so sad. Like you said, the superstars get different treatment, and they deserve it. But I thought that some players from the LIV signed up for the DP World Tour Q School. Are they no longer allowed to participate?
So the Q School, yeah, they'd have to qualify for the DP World Tour if that was the case. Like, they can't just automatically go onto the DP World Tour. They'd have to go through the Q School, which is why that they did assign like Michael Lasasso, Jose Ballester, like all the younger guys as a backup option. Hopefully, not just we hope LIV doesn't end.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. I thought that they were like banned from it or something.
No. They'd have to find their way back on by doing the Q School, by doing the Brooks Koepka. Yeah, the Brooks Koepka route back in the day. So that's what they have to do. There was another big story though involving LIV. I mean, every week, Fernando, we used to have LIV stories, even if they're not playing out here. And this one has some mixed reports, but Jon Rahm is apparently going to leave LIV for the PGA Tour. Now, this was like different reports. Like, they said that he's planning to leave, and he had even like talks already with the PGA Tour about returning, and his fine would be 5 times more than what Brooks Koepka had, like $25 million that he'd have to pay in fines and donate to a charity. And then they were saying like that the years that he wouldn't get the equity money from the playoffs, which, Brooks Koepka's 5 years, his would be like 6 to 7 years. So he'd really like get a lot of different penalties here for going to the PGA Tour. But as far as LIV goes, I mean, he's a team captain. And there was another report too that he's trying to get Terrell Hatton like a same deal as well to come with him to the PGA Tour. But that was like a report out there, and then it's been denied. So we don't really know. Apparently he can't make any decisions, which is the correct thing, until after the LIV season is over, which we know will be after this weekend. But how big of a hit would this be for Jon Rahm leaving LIV and maybe him going back to the PGA Tour?
I think like we interviewed Chris McGee, and he's like more of an insider on LIV, and he said how LIV is going to keep on living, but maybe change in some ways, that the purses may not be as high or the players may not be as great. But in the long run, there's like 6,000 pro golfers who want a shot. And the fact that it's not a monopoly, if LIV exists, I think is great for golf. And it doesn't matter if Jon Rahm leaves, as long. And the new model also sounds great with the players having equity in the thing. Like, obviously the PGA Tour did something similar last year with the player equity program, but I don't understand how the DP World Tour sees it as a different thing here.
I don't know how these different governing bodies of the golfs, whatever, the high ups, I don't know how they think about these things, but we know that Jon Rahm's he's owed a bunch of money from LIV, so maybe that plays a part into it, and he'll lose a lot of money in the PGA Tour. But then you're saying, hey, he's already won so much money on LIV, like, does it even matter like that he's getting paid all these fines? But Jon Rahm back on the PGA Tour, like, and how he hasn't really, really done well in the majors the last couple of years since he's been on LIV, but he's won the individual titles. Peter, like, do you like Rahm? How do you see him like now? Because he was saying that he like pledged his fealty to the PGA Tour, but then he went and took all the money from LIV. So how do you feel about Jon Rahm?
Yeah, what a wild adventure for the game of golf, the game of professional golf, to have such a unique aspect get thrown in and shake it to its core, right? I mean, they really, to have that much money and to pull those players and to bring out the animosity that was existing with the Normans and Mickelsons and so many others of the world, pointing out, hey, the PGA may not be all you think it is, and it could be a better way of doing this. And it really shook things up. And of course, the PGA's made a bunch of changes because largely of all of that. But now some of these guys getting stuck in the middle, took all this money, maybe not working out so much, but I don't remember how much Rahm got, but over 100 million, I think, when he first signed, didn't he? And it's like, holy crap, you got lucky to win that in 10 seasons or something, if you have a good run of things. And so it's really weird, because it doesn't seem fair for them to just be able to come back. So you got to have some consequence for jumping ship. And because there was so much money, they make the money part of the consequence. So it's it's intriguing to watch the two bodies, and with DP also, the three bodies try to figure out, how do we make this work for the better of the game. And yeah, I don't have an answer for it. It's a wild drama unfolding.
The question that I put out there last week when we were talking about this investor that the LIV says that they have, but they can't say anything about it until the bankruptcy claim goes through, is now that the PIF doesn't even invest in it, because that's why a lot of people hated it at first, because the PIF was putting money into it. Like, what's the hate now? Like, why do people still hate on it? And also, like, we saw events on the LPGA, the PIF London Championship being invested by PIF. So, and no one's hitting on LPGA. So it's just like just LIV is just like this, going to be this black hole forever, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But we do know one report that was confirmed, because we hear all these different reports and they get denied. Then we have to find out from LIV. But LIV actually confirmed this, that they had to cancel their team event, which is usually the best event in all of golf. I love the team competition and how it ends the year. But now we know that the end of the season will now be in Indianapolis this weekend with both the team and the individual usual tournament. So the fact that LIV ends this week, Fernando, how I know how much locked you'll be onto your your LIV Golf stream, your LIV Golf app, and just loving life, loving this last LIV event of the year.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be on cloud 9 one last time and just enjoying the best sports event in the world. But so sad that it's gonna change. But who knows? Maybe it's for the better. You always try to be optimistic. I think LIV became so big, like in the golf world, that everybody thought that they had to form an opinion and whatever. But I mean, it's like you don't have to pull for a team specifically. You can watch Real Madrid against Barcelona. And you can root for both, but that seems impossible for most people. And I understand it. You always want to be like competitive, but I don't know. I think LIV should keep on going. It doesn't matter if they have to file for bankruptcy or whatever. I think it should keep on going, and I'm happy for this investor, whoever it is.
LIV Golf changed professional golf forever. There wouldn't be signature events on the PGA Tour without it. There wouldn't be this 2028 two-tier system without LIV Golf. You can say whatever you want about that, but LIV Golf changed pro golf for the better, I think, in my opinion. But let's get into it, Fernando. LIV Golf Indianapolis last year, Sebastian Munoz won this event in a playoff against Jon Rahm. So what are you looking for this weekend in LIV Golf Indianapolis?
Yeah, I mean, the team event is also going to be decided. Maybe the Legion 13 or the Four Aces or the Reaper GC or Torque, any of them could win. I think I personally root for the Four Aces because of AK. And Thomas Dietrich and Thomas Peters and Dustin Johnson are great too. But for this particular event, I think Lucas Herbert should be the favorite in the form that he's in, as well as Joaquin Niemann. And maybe Westwood. Again, he showed great form last week.
Definitely, Ian Poulter is all playing a little well, but betting favorites this week is Joaquin Niemann plus 750. That would be his 10th win on LIV if he goes on to win this weekend. Bryson DeChambeau's plus 750 as well, and Jon Rahm plus 80. So those are your betting favorites this weekend. Bryson and Niemann both sharing it, and we saw Jon Rahm win the individual last week, beating out Bryson for that. But let's go on to the BMW Championship, the first time that they're playing at Belle Reve since 2018 when the PGA Championship was there. Peter, what are you looking forward to most about the PGA Tour being at Belle Reve in St. Louis this week? Because Victor Hovland said that he likes that this event every year goes to a different course, because he said if he's going to play the next 25 years of his life on the PGA Tour, he doesn't want to keep playing the same courses.
Yeah, keep the variety going. Truth be told, I haven't been following real close on the BMW, and I don't know the Belle Reve very well. So I'll pass the mic over to Fernando on this one.
I mean, it's a Robert Trent Jones course, and he's probably my favorite architect. And Belle Reve has been redone by his son, Rhys Jones, recently. They changed all the greens. They changed them from the A4 bent grass to the T1 bent grass because the A4 is like more like upright and very dense, and so the new T1 it has like more layers, and it's easier and it's more protected against the Poanua and like the dollar, like the brown spots. And so I mean, it took like 24 months to do. So a lot of work, a lot of money, but finally they did it. And I think it's for the better. They also lengthened a few of the holes, like more than 140 yards in total, which amounts to 7,400 yards for a 70 course. I think it's playing long. I don't know how much the ball flies at that altitude, but still a long course for anybody. But these players obviously are the best of the best. Anybody wants to win, like Brian Harman said last week. There's like a bunch of different tournaments going on. Like some players want to. I mean, they already secured the signature events from for last year because they're top 50, but they also want to secure maybe like a spot in a major, or the Tour Championship gives you way more perks. And so I think it's anybody's game. Personally, I don't know if you're going to skip to the picks now. But
we'll look at the betting favorite. We'll save the picks for the end. We don't want to get it too ahead of ourselves here. We're gonna make people wait for our picks because we had a good week, Fernando, with our picks, but we'll get into that in a second. And of course, since Scottie won, he's the betting favorite. And look how big of a favorite he is, plus 300. Plus 300 over Rory McIlroy, who's plus 1,600. And Lupa Gobert, who's plus 1,600. So, I mean, it's what I'm saying, Fernando. I mean, Scottie might just win all these next two events here.
Yeah, I think we should look it up. Like when Tiger was dominating, what was the difference on the? I mean, I think there was no betting, maybe, but maybe there was like an outright. How do you say, like pronostico? How do you say in English? Like an odds maker.
Yeah,
I think they should. I think this should be bigger than the difference between Tiger and Phil back in the day.
It'd be really hard to bet against Scottie, wouldn't it? If you had to bet your life on it, of course you'd have to bet on Scottie.
And now that he's won, because he's been the favorite every time he's in the field, but now that he's won, I think that's a pretty good bet to actually put some money on him. And it's always the only time you can get him at plus odds is to win, because if you go top 5, top 10, then you're just getting into odds where you won't make any money. So if you want to bet on Scottie, you can now. We'll say it's okay because he's actually won. Interesting for the DP World Tour too, Fernando. They're in Scotland this week, and they're playing Trump's course there that the RNA doesn't want to go to for the Open Championship. It's not in the road up for them. So people kind of get a little, they've played this course, a lot of the PGA guys, to get ready for Open Championships before. But what are you looking at here with the DP World Tour there in Scotland this week?
Yeah, it's interesting because both the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour and LIV play on Trump's courses, but they don't have any majors held there, which means, like you said, maybe the RNA or the USGA or the PGA or the Masters. Well, obviously the Masters now, but they're not in favor of like being into politics, I guess. And I respect that, but this course looks immaculate. Like, it looks amazing. Scottish weather is incredible. You never know what to expect. I see that Grant Forrest is trying to look for a third win in Scotland, which would tie. I think no. Colin Montgomery has 2 wins in Scotland. Robert McIntyre has 2 wins in Scotland, but I think he'll be the first to have 3 wins in Scotland as a Scottish guy.
Wow, impressive stuff there. And you look at the betting favorites for them as well. Patrick Reed, back playing on the DP World Tour this week. We know he already secured his PGA Tour card, winning 3 of the first 4 events earlier this year. He's just playing for fun at this point. Casey Jarvis, who's a young name in the game, that he's looking like he secured his PGA Tour card with 2 wins this year, and another 2 winner this year on the DP World Tour, also in line to secure his PGA Tour card. Eugenio Jacara, Fernando. So right here, these 3 guys, we'll see Reed back on the PGA Tour, and Jarvis and Jacara there next year.
Yeah, Reed was having a career year and then kind of fell off a little bit. I think
he just wants to take time off because he already knows his future. So nothing wrong with that.
PGA Tour. Casey Jarvis is actually trying to make the President's Cup team. He's not far from the locked spots, and maybe the captain will pick him. And Shakara has been tremendous, and he's playing with Grant Forrest the first 2 days.
There you go. So there's a group to watch if you want to wake up early like Fernando does, and sometimes I do, to catch the DP World Tour. And now that we're getting towards the end of the show, 50 minutes in, I think people have waited long enough, Fernando, to get our picks. So we'll go with the DP World Tour first. And I'm picking Casey Jarvis. He's already won twice this year. He has won me some money this year picking him. And then Joe, who's the 18-year-old China golfer we talked about. He's like one of the next phenoms. So just picking him for the name and the future star power. And Ewan Ferguson, had to pick a Scottish guy. And Ewan's a cool name, so I'm going with him this weekend. And then with you talked about Grant Forrest, you talked about Joe, and Matthew Jordan, who's been there every week as well. So what do we think about all these picks this week? What do you think about all these picks this week, Fernando? Are you there, Fernando?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Is he trying to show us the pelvis swing again?
Uh-oh. Yes. Are you trying to show us the pelvis swing?
Hello.
We see you.
Yeah, we see you, Fernando. You're good.
He didn't want to give away his picks.
No. Hold on. I'm trying to add him back. We're trying to get him back, people. We're working on it. Yeah, can you hear us, Fernando, or no? I guess he can't hear us. That's all right. We'll try to get him back in, Peter. Technology is always fun.
Very good. I'll say I look forward to looking up the Chinese golfer you spoke of. I'd heard his name once before, but I didn't realize he was 18 and such a phenom that way. I got to look him up and learn a little bit about that guy.
Yeah, he's almost won a couple of times this year as well. A lot of runner-up finishes. Can you hear us, Fernando, now? Are you good?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. There we go. Awesome. All right. Cool. We're great at filling time here. We're good because technology, even though it's cool and fun, it doesn't work sometimes. So that was the case for Fernando. But anyway, Fernando, so we showed your picks for DP World Tour. You like Matthew Jordan. You like Joe. You like Grant Forrest. I showed mine. I like Casey Jarvis, Joe, and Ewan Ferguson. So what do we think about these picks this week? And then we'll get into PGA and LIV.
Yeah, I think Ewan Ferguson is Scottish, so you have to be with one of those guys that play in that kind of weather every week. So, I mean, the fact that Grant has already won 2 times there should be a lock.
There we go. There's your locks, and we've been doing well with our picks. Last week, Fernando and I, our 6 picks on the PGA Tour, all finished in the top 10. So if that doesn't tell you that to pick our picks, then I don't know what's wrong with you at home. But let's get into my picks for LIV this week. I think Niemann can go win his 10th this year. I think Sebastian Munoz could defend his title he won last year. And Bubba Watson played well in the DP World Tour last week in Denmark, Fernando. He finished T7. So I think we might see something out of Bubba Watson this weekend. And I told you that story last week where when he was on the PGA Tour and I saw him at the BMW Championship, he was hitting his tee shots over the range, like 350 that the driving range ends at. He was hitting over the fence into the neighborhood when I saw him at the BMW Championship, like when I was in high school. So always fun. So I think those 3 guys for this week. What do we think, Fernando?
Yeah, amazing. Joaquin Niemann is one of the best players in the world when he plays on LIV, and he's looking for his 10th win, which is mind-blowing. And Sebastian Munoz has been working with Peter Cowan recently, so I think that's just the spice that he needs. And Bubba will be forever one of the greatest with his charisma, his Richard Mille 5 million watch. So very happy for him that he's back healthy and back at the top.
You also like Joaquin Niemann, and then Lucas Herbert, who's won twice in dominant fashion, and Harold Varner III, who's been knocking on the door as well, finishing second a lot of times this year.
Yeah, HV3. I think the fact that he changed teams to Smash GC helped him a lot. And, well, now it's called OKC, but it's a great team for him with Taylor Gooch there as a captain. And Herbs and Spices looks amazing. So I think we should win again with these picks.
Yeah, Lucas Herbert, great Instagram name there. Herbs and Spices has a lot of swag. Always wears the Jordans, so I can appreciate that. Now, Peter, I know you watched the show, so you might have seen when I went on my run of Wyndham Clark picks, and
Oh yeah.
he ended up winning the U.S. Open. Well, I'm back on the Wyndham Clark train this week at the BMW Championship. He finished T7 last week. He's playing so much better after he doesn't really play so well on the links courses, but he plays well when he's in the U.S. And I think he could get back in the winner's circle this week. Already 2 wins this year, the U.S. Open and the Byron Nelson. And Alex Noren, he's been up at the top of leaderboards for this last week, and he's not in the top 30 yet. So I think he needs a top 10 finish to get into that top 30 for the Tour Championship, even though he hasn't won this year. And Ludwig Oberg, who we've seen be at the top of the leaderboard, even in like top 3 names, leading after 54 holes too. We saw that at the Players Championship, but he just has that struggle bus of trying to close out tournaments.
Yeah, that Wyndham Clark creating a buzz around the golf world this year as well has been fun to have a new character in the game that way.
Yes.
So, hooray for him! And yeah, I like that pick.
What do you think, Fernando?
I mean, I also picked Wyndham, so I'm going to ride the train since he led last week in putting.
Yeah.
And this week, the greens are really big, so he's going to hit a lot of greens. So, obviously, my boy Sanjay him, he's trying to make it to the Tour Championship again, like for the 10th time in a row. So, very happy for him. And Alex Noren, like he said, he's been off to a hot streak recently with like 4 straight top 15s, and he has such a beautiful technique. I think after he got wrist surgery 2 years ago, it seemed like maybe he might be out of it, but he just came back and won in Bermuda and trying to win again.
And Sungjae Him, he wore that shirt. What was it? Him and Keith Mitchell wore that shirt. Was at the Open where they wore that shirt, and that was funny to see. But he needs a solo 8th finish, Fernando, to make the top 30. So I know you'll need to put him as a top 10 bet. He was in that final group this week. He just couldn't get it together on the final day. But a lot of guys on that final day this week went over par. Like Sam Burns, who was one of my picks last week, he shot 62 to get into one of those last groups, and he was 3 over. So there was just a lot of high scores this last week. So, but we'll see what happens this week. We'll get down to the top 3 in the Tour Championship. Those are our picks. Make sure that you make yours at home and let us know in the comments of this episode as well if you like our picks, if you want to disagree with our picks. We're happy to go down there and have some conversation. We're all good with that. But Peter, we appreciate you coming on this week. Any last words for the people? You want to plug your book again, let people know about it, where to find it, things like that? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Terrific to be with you and stay on the show to wrap golf for an hour here. But yeah, Conversations with Par. If you're looking to create a different perspective for your golf game, this will give you a different look at things and a different avenue to enjoyment aside from just your score. And I know it's easy to say, well, sure, I'm playing for fun, but when you're really out there and doing it, are you enjoying nature? Are you tapping into the camaraderie? Are you really enjoying the dog and a beer at the turn, right? Or are you still locked in that I got to score well in order to be happy? And that's one of the other nuggets of the book I'll say is that Par asked Peter, he goes, well, how'd you play? He said, oh, the driver wasn't working. I shot terrible. He goes, I didn't ask you how you scored. I asked you how you played. Right. And so that's my final nugget, is to realize there's a difference between how you score and how you play, and that it is a game if you allow it to be a game, or it's a judgment tool if you don't. So enjoy or do whatever you want. But if you want enjoyment, Conversations with Par, petermeltongolf.com. You can read the first 4 chapters before deciding whether you want to read any more or not. And couple other interviews and stuff on my website at petermeltongolf.com. And pleasure to be here with you all.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
I actually played a few holes this morning without like even going to the golf course. I was just pretending I was playing a course here in Querétaro, Mexico, where I live. And I was like, okay, I'm playing from the black tees. I'm gonna try to hit a 3-wood off the tee, and it looks like it's fine. I kind of maybe hit a little bit to the right, and then I kind of hit like a 6-iron into the green, went a little left of the green, and I kind of chipped it, almost hold it, but it went by like 5 feet, and then I made the par, and I played like 4 holes like this, and it was
Oh,
a lot of fun.
beautiful, beautiful. That's one of the other nuggets in the book is Parr invites Peter to play a hole without a ball. And when you actually physically play golf without a ball, it's a wild experiment for your brain. It's a drill. Obviously, you wouldn't do it all the time, but if you do it for just a couple of holes on a golf course where you have to go and find where your drive went, and you have to decide where the 8-iron went on the green and mark the ball, and then you have to putt and decide whether it goes in or not, and do your best to not just visualize, but feel and live your experiment, your mental visualization experiment. It's wild to just notice how different your normal round is, where you're so caught up in where it goes, and where your visualization hole plays, where you don't have to worry about that anymore. The judgment is dropped, and you're dreaming it up like Fernando did on his holes, and it's a fun little experiment.
There we go. And you don't usually get the opportunity to read a couple of chapters of a book before deciding. So make sure you go to Peter's website and not just read the first 4 chapters, but buy the book as well. And I'm excited for the audio book with Peter's wonderful voice. So I'm looking forward to listening to that in the car on a long drive coming up here. But if you hung with us here for over an hour now, a lot of you are watching. I see over 300 people watching right now. So awesome for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, support the channel, help grow the channel here. Tap an Eagle on the Cousins Conversations YouTube channel. We're here every week talking about the big news in golf, have great guests every once in a while. We don't like to give it every week, but when somebody like Peter wants to come on, talk about his book, talk about the mental game, we always love having guests on as well. So hit that subscribe button, help grow the channel, subscribe. And
I wanted to say one last thing that
Fernando,
if you play without a ball, it's like playing in the night, because you kind of feel your swing, and it's like you make your swing, your actual swing, and you're like, man, it felt like I pulled it, and so it gives you more feedback on your swing.
Yeah, great comment.
There we go. You also don't want to miss Fernando's weekly swing lessons for free. All you have to do is just come and watch us every week. So there you go. That's another reason to hit that subscribe button below. But we appreciate you all tuning in this week. Next week, we'll have the top 30 deciding the Tour Championship, who wins on LIV, the team event. We'll talk about that all next week. We'll see you back here. Have a great week, everybody.
Be well.
Thank you. Have fun.